So I've been building my own kind of gaming setup here, and as you can see, I already have the 49-inch screen. I have the ROG setup, so I have the ROG mouse, I actually have the headset over here, and today I'm working on probably the biggest thing, which is building my setup in terms of the actual hardware that I'm using and not the accessories. So we're looking at the ROG Crosshair VIII Impact. This is basically DTX motherboard. That means that it's smaller than ITX motherboard setup. And it's like part number one of my extensive review series in which I'm actually building my own gaming setup. So that's not a full review here, but just like the initiation or step one of a series that I'm planning to do regarding my gaming adventures here with the ROG products. So before we take a look at the actual motherboard itself, because I just took everything out of the box, I actually invite you to join my channel so you can stick with me on my gaming adventures and actually with my hardware reviews, because I do a lot of reviews beyond gaming that I think you will find very interesting. If you'll click on the red subscribe button down below, I'll be able to see you on my next videos. So let's take a look at the motherboard itself. You basically get 8 USB ports, and 6 out of the 8 are going to be 3.2 generation 2 ports. One of them is going to be USB-C, and the other is going to be able to let you control the BIOS. Also, it's the highlighted one, while 2 USB ports are going to be these two, actually, the blue ones are going to be 2 USB ports that are 3.2 generation 1. So we also have an Ethernet port over here and a Wi-Fi 6 protocol antenna. This is basically enabling you to have a really fast Wi-Fi connection and having multiple connections to one router. So if you really rely on Wi-Fi connection, this is something you really want to look into, because having Wi-Fi 6 is a huge feature with this motherboard. There's also a reset button over here, so you can actually change the functionality of that button using the ASUS software. So if you want, for example, to do some overclocking or maybe change the RGB lights, this is also an option by pressing on this one. There's a bunch of audio inputs here on the motherboard itself. On the bottom, you'll see some gold-plated inputs and outputs, whether it's the mic port or line in, line out. There's also an SPDI out port over here for your optical audio connection. And when talking about audio connections, obviously you'll see that the first thing here is that we do have an onboard audio card over here, and that's why you see all these audio connections. I also have installed this adapter here, which is basically, as you can see, going up from the motherboard itself, and this is where you install the M.2 SSD hard drives, enabling you to reach really high speeds when it comes to hard drive transfers. You can actually get up to 3 gigabytes per second, which is just insane. Also here you install your graphics cards. You have 4 slots over here to install your memory cards, so you can get easily up to 64 gigabytes of RAM. This is where the CPU goes, as you can see. And also this is where you'll see that we have some active cooling. And when we talk about active cooling, you see that this is basically where all the ports are, but there's also another part over here that will basically move the cool air to this part of the motherboard. So you have some really nice heat dissipation. And also if you look at this part over here, you'll see that it's obviously a bit far away from where all the heat is. So I really like that. And also the 2 fans that you have here are also above the X570 chipset, which is over here below. So all in all, who's this motherboard for? Basically, I want to build like this kind of small setup that I have near my TV. So I don't want to have this huge computer over there. I want something that's basically movable. And because we also have Bluetooth 5.0 on this device, basically I can have everything wireless, like including my keyboard or mouse and my internet, as I just talked about the Wi-Fi 6. And that's a huge thing. And actually I can install to this motherboard the latest and greatest when it comes to CPU. I could install the 3950X, for example, and actually get 16-core CPU on this. Obviously with enough RAM to do everything, so I really like that. There's a hell of a lot more USB ports than what I actually need, so I'm really excited for that. There are also buttons on the motherboard itself if you want to do a restart, for example, and there are also RGB lights on board the motherboard with 5 other connections for you to install more RGB lights if you want to. So inside the box itself, besides the motherboard, you'll see that we get the antennas to connect the Wi-Fi module. We have all the cables that we need to connect RGB lights, and we have the manual and the thank you note for getting an ROG product, and actually a coffee cup placement, maybe, who knows. Some stickers, or I have many of these, and a manual that will tell you everything about the motherboard itself. That's about it for this unboxing. The next step for me is probably getting all the other parts that I need, including a 16-core CPU, which is gonna be expensive. That's why I'm still saving for that, but in the end, I'm probably looking at a setup that's gonna be quite expensive anyway. So for me, this is gonna be a good start for that. There are probably cheaper options on the market if you're looking at motherboard that has all of these features, but they are not gonna be as small as this DTX. And I actually like that I have so many things going on here that basically enable me to create a small setup that has everything portable or wireless. I like that. It's going to be really small. It's going to be really fast. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you click on the subscribe button so you'll see my next videos on this video series, on my gaming review series. So I'll see you next. And if you have any questions or comments, make sure you post them on the comment section below. I was Rotodil, and I hope I'll see you on my next video. Thank you very much for watching. I have some more options for you on the sides over here. I'll see you soon. Thank you very much. Bye bye.